It works. You never know if this is going to work.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I really enjoyed that. I was just watching you chatting away to Katie. I love her.
Oh, I know. I was forgetting like they were actually on a an Instagram live. I was like, you can just keep talking and talking.
I felt like I was part of the conversation. I just felt like I was just like hanging out with you.
How are you? I feel like I've not seen you in ages, but I feel like I've just followed all of your pregnancy and all of like your good news, and yeah.
I know. I used to see you all the time, like especially MTV days. I've seen actually. Congratulations to you and Tom Grennan. I saw Tom this week because he was on Celebrity Juice, and we want you on.
Oh my gosh, I'm well up for that.
Yes, we had him on, and we were just like, congratulations, by the way, on everything you're doing, and this as well. This is really special that you're doing this tonight.
Yeah, no, I just thought to do something, I guess, just to bring people together. I think it's like whatever way you can do something. And
also, look at her hair is the same.
I know, I was gonna say.
Loving your work.
Messy mermaid vibes.
I'm like, people can only see my top half, so you don't want to see what's going on the bottom half.
Hopefully we get a hair campaign after this, Laura.
Thanks.
How are you though? When are you due? Obviously you don't have to give the exact date on here.
Like this month. So if during this
You're
chat,
glowing.
If during this, I know it's sweat. If during this chat at any stage I hop off, you know why.
No, you look amazing. Like whenever, I don't know, like everything just looks, do you feel like in a really positive place in life at the moment?
Yeah, and I think like I love that this conversation is about resilience, because I think that's the one thing that we've learned this year is resilience. It's been a really tough year for so many people, you know, people in the music industry, parents at home, everyone. But I think the one thing we have learned as humans is that we are resilient.
Yes, absolutely. I think no one would have predicted this, would they? Like at all. And I think all of us going through it in such different ways. And I think I find the most interesting thing is that whenever I get asked, when I've done like interviews recently, like in promo for my single, I'm like, they're like, how have you found lockdown? I'm like, well, lockdown's not just one emotion, and a pandemic doesn't give you just one emotion. Like, I think I set out to do what everyone else did, which was like, I'm going to be the best version of myself and do yoga every day. And then like, I end up just waking up at 4 p.m. eating a bowl of crunchy nut, like a couch potato, like. Which
is fine. I'm like, if you like sometimes during, especially first lockdown, if you just get up in the morning, I'm like, yes, well done you. Well done.
No, exactly.
Also good.
It's it's been a funny time, and I guess like I never thought I would be releasing music as much as I have done. Like I found like this big creative spurt. Like I don't know about you, obviously I know, which I'm mega excited about reading, by the way, your new book.
I'm probably like you. I found the time quite creative, but I think there was a pressure sometimes for people to, if you didn't write a book or, you know, release a #1 hit during lockdown, that is fine. But I found the time, I don't know about you, but like I travel a lot because of work. I'm constantly on the move, or I'm constantly looking to the next thing, and this was like the first time ever I was forced to stay still, and it made me more creative. It made me create my own content and do things that I had been putting off for a long time.
No, that's so interesting. I mean, I think I found that I was like just tapping into, like that's the first lockdown I did back at my parents'. Did you do the whole of lockdown in London?
Yeah, in London. We managed in breaks. We managed to go back to Ireland for a few weeks, but because Ireland was really strict, I never got to see anyone. We were like in the middle of the country, just restricting, and it was purely just being a different location for writing. But I didn't really see anyone. But we've mainly been home, and you know, Ian, my other half, we don't really see each other a lot because he's like comedian, so he's always on tour. And I know it was the same with you and your other half, where like you kind of get used to having your own life, and then suddenly you're stuck in a house with someone.
I know, it's crazy. I think it can work wonders, or it can like do the opposite. But like,
thankfully we're still together.
For me, it like made it like literally he's like my best friend, and I've just realized how much I think it's definitely built like more of a solid thing for when normality, whatever that is, does eventually come back. I feel like there's just this whole new level of like, I don't know, I just see it as like the foundation of a house that probably wasn't even there, that I thought was there, but now it actually properly is there. so yeah, it's bizarre, and you learn things. Even though you can live with someone, you don't spend day in, day out, morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner with them, and just, you know, go through everything with them. So I think that has been a process and a journey, which is you learn a lot through.
You do, and you're right. It's that, like, finding out that, like, the person you live with is like your best friend is really nice. And actually, that's one of the things I feel really privileged for, because not everyone had a safe home during lockdown, and it just made me really, you know, you're always kind of looking for the next job, and there's, you know, you're ambitious and there's things going on. But I just felt very blessed to have a roof over my head, to live with someone I really like, and to have those comforts. And it just reminded me,
yeah,
of what is important.
No, completely. I feel so much for anyone, and anyone right now, even if you're watching this, and if you are on your own and you feel lonely,
you've got this whole
you've
world
got this
of people talking.
You've got this and us talking, because I know the type of person I am. If I'm just on my own for more than, you know, a few hours, I'm horrendous. Like, I think I'm just so used to constantly being around my team, or writing a song, or being in a studio, or being on a stage. And it's just such an interactive job that I do, and you yourself. So, like, when it just went to kind of nothing, it's definitely grounded me more again and centered me. And I think something that Katie said previously as well, like, about your purpose, like, you just kind of realign everything again.
Yeah, I think purpose is really important. And I love when you guys were talking about podcasts and things like that, because I just did Katie's podcast last week. And
yes, I've heard this. I've not. Can you listen to it yet?
Yeah, it's just up now. And I love podcasts, because I feel like this almost, it's a conversation. And sometimes there's a lot of podcasts I listen to. I do a podcast about podcasts, because I love podcasts so much. I just talk about other people's podcasts.
That's amazing.
Just it's really like, yeah, a rabbit hole. But I just love listening to other people's experiences and storytelling, because, you know, even the women you've got on this now tonight, like, we're all very different, but we're all very similar, and we've probably all experienced similar things.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I think even when I was putting it together, I was like, I don't know if it's funny. I was even like, even though I'm doing it about resilience and being like a strong female, this independent female, like, the first thing I turned around to my team and said, I was like, oh, but what if no one wants to do that with me? Is it not really cringe? And there was like, literally, that is the reason why you're doing it, is to, you know, to shake that. And for anyone that ever feels that and just has a lack of confidence and, you know, and feeling that way.
Yeah.
Your new book, what's it about?
So basically it's really apt actually in this conversation, because I talk about so many things that you talk about: purpose. I talk about imposter syndrome, because that's something, when I won a competition to be an MTV presenter, like, over 10 years ago, and I moved to London. And you probably had similar things too, because you got famous very, very quickly, and it's very overwhelming, and suddenly you end up in a situation, you end up places where you don't feel like you belong, even though you do belong there, because, you know, you get to where you are because of your talent, and because you're able to do the job. But I just used to feel really stressed, like, you know, like that someone that I was faking it. And I've realized over the years that, and I've interviewed loads of people, that, like, everyone feels that way, like, from the massive stars to, you know, even people in different workspaces where maybe they're the only female in a job, or the only person who looks like them in that job, and you kind of feel like the outsider. And it kind of made me talk about these different issues that have kind of come to my notice over the years. And I kind of wanted it to almost be like, I'm not an expert, but because of different things I've experienced and expectations and just different personal women's issues I dealt with, I just thought, I have a space, I have this following, particularly of younger women, that I wanted to talk about it. And like, when I started, like, I normally ask people questions, so it's really weird for people to ask me questions, because I just want to ask questions back.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it weird? I mean, I'm no...
So I'm like, Ella, how are you? Come on, Celebrity Juice.
I was going to say, I'm no host at all. Do you know, that's why I was nervous about. I wanted to do this, and then when I realised, I was like, it's, as much as it's I was like, I just want it to be a conversation, which it is. Yeah. But like, even doing this makes me nervous and sweaty.
Really?
Like just before I went live, and I think if I was just talking on my own, but bringing other people in, like, but actually it's nice to just, it's more about just
chat, isn't it?
It's basically this is definitely like FaceTime, but with everyone watching.
But it's very different to, like, you've done loads of press interviews and promo in the past because of your music and, you know, promoting tours and albums. And you, at the start, I know, like, you're very protective. You don't want to give too much away, because if you say anything, if you say, I feel vulnerable, or I feel sad, or I've had this bad experience, it would
terrified how it's gonna
it'd be taken, misconstrued, put in a paper somewhere. And I've always been really, like, protective of that. And the good thing about the book was I had this space that was my space, that, like, I created, like your channel, you know, and your following, like, you get to decide what you put out. I think that's so important.
No, for sure. Oh,
I love this. It's a safe space, isn't it?
I know it is a safe space. I would definitely love to come on Celeb Juice. So if I am, I want to be on your team.
But I also, like, I'm always like, I'm going to be protective of you, because you know what that show's like.
Oh, I do. Do you know, Keith has messaged me a few times and I've just not replied. So he will absolutely gas me. Like, he'll just, yeah.
Hello, you're ghosting Keith Lemon.
Do you know what my favourite game is, though, on that show? If I came on, I want to do the one, you know, where you put the headphones on and you
you have the like Chinese whispers, basically.
Love that. Cause
yeah, but he does all this with his face, and, like, I have no idea what he's saying, but it's good fun. You need to kind of have that kind of fun and humor in a world where there's lots of other things going on as well.
No, for sure. Absolutely. Is there anything in lockdown that you figured out that's like a new thing, new hobby, or anything that you didn't do before?
Do you know what I'm loving? Well, he's asleep. Are you here? I've got my little dog. Are you falling asleep? So, oh my God, I've just woken him up. This is Mick.
Oh, hello.
Oh my God, I've just woken up. But he, I've been sitting at the edge of this. This is my desk and stuff where I've been recording stuff earlier on today. And I'm literally sitting at the edge of the seat because he takes up the whole seat. But I've definitely got a new appreciation for the dog and walking the dog. Because I think during lockdown, some days it's just hard to leave the house. Do you know, like, you're just like, you know, what's the point? But when you've got a dog, it also makes you talk to the neighbours. I love my neighbours. I know my neighbours now. I never knew my neighbours before lockdown.
That's cool. Are they nice?
So my next door neighbour, Anne, bakes on a Sunday and leaves treats on the doorstep of all our road.
Oh, that is the cutest thing ever.
And, like, I live in central London. Like, no one talks to anybody.
No, that's so true.
There's definitely a community feel. Have you noticed that in the last year? Like, I definitely think, you know, whatever online, but even in your own little community, we're being a little bit nicer to each other. I
even feel like, because where I'm right now, I'm literally in the sticks in the middle of nowhere. I'm here doing, like, a writing camp.
It looks very fancy behind you.
It's not. We're literally in, like, we're all bubbled up. We've had to, like, COVID test and we all quarantined before we could come here and stuff. But we all went for a nice walk the other day on this, like, off-beaten track where we are, and it, like, linked onto a golf course. And every person that we kind of came into some form of contact to and, like, end up walking past, everyone was like, lovely day, morning, and, like, talking to me, and I was just like, it's so weird. No one talk. And also, I've been in a house all this time, like, I've not apart from, like, the people I know and, like, just, like, doing work bits and promo, I've not seen anyone. So, like, just a stranger saying hello actually was, like, it made my day.
Yeah, I know. And I think all those things we took for granted, I think coming out of lockdown, I think the rest of the year is going to be really positive. I hope anyway, because we're going to be so appreciative of saying hello to people, of hugs.
Yeah.
Do you know?
You've timed it perfectly, because you'll be having the baby, lockdown lifts, and you can have a drink.
I know. I've basically missed nothing. I've missed no nights out. I've missed no weddings. I've missed even after Celebrity Juice, which is normally, you know, a few drinks in the dressing rooms afterwards. We're all sent home afterwards.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, I couldn't do this anyway. So
that's so funny.
I'll be ready. Summertime, I'll be ready for it.
Amazing. Well, let's wrap it up, and I wanted you to give everybody your little piece of advice, or your little mantra or wisdom, or something that you use or to help you cope, or to cope through life with, or a bit of advice for anyone right now that probably needs it.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes back, like, so when I wrote this book kind of over the last few years, but I finished it last year, and I remember I had to think of the title of the book. And as a songwriter, you'll know about this, like, I think I love song lyrics. Like, I love song lyrics because they're almost like an affirmation. And I went with the title is like a song lyric from the first album I ever owned, aged 5, way before you were born.
Amazing.
And it was, no one can change your life except for you. And that's been really helpful to me. And I wish my younger self, well, actually, my younger self did kind of know that a little bit, but we know we live in a world where we're constantly waiting for someone else to choose us, to pick us for a job, or guy to text us back, or whatever it may be. Oh, now you're awake, or whatever it may be. And I think, you know, with the pandemic and everything that happened, like, we were stuck at home. There was things we couldn't do, but look at what you can do. And it's like, how can you make your life better? Like, can you be like my next door neighbor and bake something for the road? Or can you check in on a neighbor, or just be nice to someone in your house? And that's kind of my mantra. Like, no one can change your life except for you. There's big things out of our control. Some people are more privileged than others, and I get that. But it's like, what are the little things that we can do at an individual level that can just make other people's, but also our own lives better?
Yeah. No, completely. I completely am with you and on the same page there. No, yeah.
I love a good song as well.
Yeah, I love that you love a good song. Everyone's putting in the comments, where's your jumper from?
Oh, my jumper, actually.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is called Marlin Darlin, and it's like old school television screen.
Love that.
I'm just in the comfortable clothes.
No, aren't we all? Oh. Well, no, thank you so much. And also, if you haven't, everyone go buy Laura's book, because
all the best. Yeah, sending it good energy, good energy, good vibes. I hope recording is going well.
Thank you. No, yeah, I'm excited. It's exciting stuff. I feel like I've just got all this time to experiment with like sounds and stuff. Like, there's no rules.
Cool, though?
It is. I think it's just been so long. I've not done album 2 yet, and it's been, I don't know how many years. Like, my fans have waited for album 2. So like, I think it's because, do you know, this is something that I struggled with, and this is probably my relationship with resilience, is having to, that transition of like the pressure I put on myself, that, you know, and you hear about it in interviews and you get asked about it all the time. Oh, album 2, like, where's the, because you debuted at #1 with your previous one, and it's the most, at like 18 years old, it was the most daunting thing. So to go through all of that, like, and whereas now I'm just at a place where I'm making a body of work, a piece of art that I'm so proud of. I'm going to give 110 to it, and when I put it out there, I know I couldn't have given or done any more, and however the universe receives that is what it's meant to be. And it's taken me a long time to get to that place. So I think for anyone in any industry, or doing whatever you do, whatever job, whatever career, or whatever you aspire to do, like, to not give up and just, you know, stick to what you do, because there's been many a time where I've thought, oh, I'll just stay in the background now, or I'll go be a songwriter, or I'll step back from it all, and I know that just wouldn't make me happy.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, just what you said there, it's like what we say to ourselves. Like, I give out trolling, and people say horrible things online, but sometimes the things we say to ourselves, and the self-doubt, and even like, you're probably your worst critic.
Oh god, like, yeah, I'm a nightmare at times.
And the expectations you put on your second album and things like that. So we have to be kind to other people. We have to be kind to ourselves as well. I think that's one thing that we need to remember. Just be nice to you.
Yeah. No, I just think being kind to yourself and speaking nicely to yourself internally, like, my head can just go to places sometimes, and I can be so cruel to myself. But today I actually even did yoga this morning, and like, she was saying this kind of mantra over and over with me, and I laid down, and it was the first time where I actually thought, do you know what, I'm a living being inside my own body, and like, I'm not in control of like my heart that keeps beating for me, and all these things that the body does. And I just laid there, and I had this like weird epiphany of like, I just need to be more thankful, because there's so many things out of my control that just happen in a daily basis, like breathing, and there are things to just get up and simply be grateful for that at times, and just let you, even if it's a crappy day, just at least you're breathing, and you're walking, and you're on the planet, and you're safe, and you're well, or you're loved. And yeah, I think just there's so many people close to me that I would love to know, that I would want to send that message to all the time, but I just haven't got the time to speak to them all the time. But I know they're on here now. I can see it. Even Tom's on here now.
Tom Grennan, we love you. Yes, Tom Grennan. What a legend.
No, but thank you so much for taking part of it. It absolutely means the world to me. And when all is over, I can't wait to see you next and meet the little one.
I know. Next time I see you, I will have a child. That's really scary.
You're gonna be the hottest mum though. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh my lord. I know. Well, we'll see. Do you know who's not going to be impressed? The dog. I don't think the dog understands what's about to happen.
There'll be a little bit of jealousy there. You know
Oh,
what though? It'll all change when the baby arrives. The dog will just be like, yeah, all over it.
I hope so. Dog will be like, I am not number one anymore.
Oh, well, take care of yourself, and
Thank you.
I'll catch up with you soon.
Great, and I'll be watching the rest of this. Thanks so much. Bye, Ella. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.